Hi, how's everybody doing? Welcome to a new edition to the Up All Night Dad segment that I have, and I'm calling it the Eye Test. I watch a lot of sports, and I played a lot of sports when I was growing up, and I'm a big 49ers fan. I'm also a huge Mavericks fan. Ran a lot of track, played some soccer, but I was mainly in the football and basketball. So I while I don't know the X's and O's as deeply as some people who played in college and the pros, I play ball, and I've seen watched a lot of games. So I know a lot of people can probably break down the X's and O's of the game a little bit better than I can. But what I want to do is, uh, you know, bring what I call it to, like, when you're looking at it, you can see it. There's a lot of guys that you can tell just have it, and or a lot of teams that just have it, or why they win. I feel like a lot of the times people are missing the really important things that they're doing. I call it reading in between the lines. There are certain things that you can see, and I feel a lot of times the analysts, because they don't watch teams or watch certain players, or I feel like they're missing something. So tonight I'm here for a NFL playoff edition of the eye test, and I want to talk about starting off with Brock Purdy. I don't know why everybody's hating on this guy. He's a good quarterback. I've been watching the 49ers play for decades. Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jeff Garcia, Tim Rattay, Alex Smith. I think JT O'Sullivan was the quarterback. Kaepernick. And I've never seen the West Coast offense ran like this. I know that Mike Holmgren and Andy Reid, they run versions of the West Coast offense. I've seen so many quarterbacks in this offense, and it's never been efficient as it is with Brock Purdy running it. And I don't think it's hyperbole to say is that he looks and feels a lot like Joe Montana. I hear a lot of people and analysts say that he's not, he doesn't have the talent or he doesn't have the skills to say Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. But he doesn't really have to. And I think that's also false. Brock can move around pretty good. He's not immobile. He's not like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady where he's a statue. But what I think that he does better than even some of those guys that I named, I've never seen a quarterback go through his reads or process his reads as fast as he does. You can see it. I've seen so many guys like Kaepernick, when they drop back, you can tell they're struggling to read through their progressions and they're already taking off and running. Brock sees so fast. You just have to just watch one game. I challenge anybody who doubts this guy, pick any football game outside of the Ravens game. The game was terrible. Just pick one game and just watch him as he's going through his progressions and making his reads. He's incredibly efficient. He never throws it to the wrong person. He's always making the right play. And I've seen Brock make plays downfield that, a lot of guys would say, they would check it down. I've seen him forego first downs to players like Ayuk to hit somebody deeper down the field. A lot of guys, I haven't seen it in a long time. That's why I can pair him a little bit to Montana and Young, to where he's taking deep shots. He's not just hitting, 5-yard curls or slants or, the screens. Brock takes he's extremely accurate over the middle of the field. It's pretty incredible, his anticipation on his throws. He's throwing at the spots, and it's like, it's not an accident. When he first took over for Jimmy Garoppolo, I really thought, I wasn't sure about the kid. He was, as everybody say, Mr. Irrelevant. And I noticed the offense change, and all these people on TV where they're talking about, oh, well, Jimmy did it. He wasn't doing it like this. That offense changed when Brock Purdy got in that offense. Okay, Jimmy wasn't making these type of plays, and it's really understated what he does. He's had some bad games. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks have bad games, but he's 20-5. He's only been in the NFL not even a full 2 years. He's 24 years old and he's 20-5. I don't care what you guys say. The dude is 20-5 and he's been in 2 seasons and 2 NFC championships. And if he doesn't get injured, he probably went to the Super Bowl and they probably win that Super Bowl. Okay, so for everybody who's trying to hate on this guy, so many quarterbacks have not done that. I don't care how, you know, people want to say Trent Dilfer or Brad Jones. They didn't go to 2. They didn't do it like this. They didn't do it when they first walked into the league. I don't care how much talent you have. A lot of guys have talent around them and don't do it. You know, who was I can name tons of quarterbacks who have lots of talented receivers. Talented people in the backfield, and they didn't go to 2 straight NFC championships and set 49er franchise records. Do y'all understand that he set 49er quarterback franchise records? That means numbers better than Montana. That means numbers better than Steve Young. Okay, just think about that. Better than those guys. Okay, it is an incredible achievement that he's done that. He is extremely efficient. There's a reason why all of those players, the ones that we've had every year, since everybody says he has so much talent around him, they didn't have the seasons that they had this year. We had 3 1,000-yard receivers, and that's pretty impressive. No matter the offensive system, Kyle Shanahan's been running this system, and he's never had numbers like this. Okay, Christian McCaffrey's been in other offenses, and he's never had numbers like this. Ayuk has been here, Debo has been here, and they've never had numbers like this. Okay, Brock Purdy is the reason this thing goes the way it's been going. Can they win without Brock? They can win games. Are they going to do what they're doing now? Are they nearly as scary? Have y'all seen Sam Darnold go into the game this year? I'm scared every time he walks in there. The offense looks completely different the few times he's been there. I mean, we lost to the Rams. He should have killed them with all the talent we got and everything like that. He should have killed them. You know what I mean? Sam Darnold struggled. I don't want to say struggled. He was okay. He was average. The next thing that I think gets a lot of conversation and people really miss, and they can't understand it with Debo, is our offensive struggles. Why, when Debo isn't in the game, we struggle. And I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to break it down for everybody. The reason why our offense is so successful is 3 things in 3 pieces. That's Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuels, and Brock Purdy. As long as those 3 guys are playing on offense, we're not going to be beat. We're not going to be beat. I know the Ravens beat us. I want another shot at them. I think that the game's going to go differently. But everybody else, it is impossible for defenses to basically stop that combination. Okay? You can stop Debo just by himself. You can stop Christian McCaffrey just by himself. Alright? If you take those weapons away from Brock, and Brock is working with a little bit less, yeah, defenses can come up with a game plan on how to defend these guys individually. Okay? But when you have both of those chess pieces on the field at the same time, it's unguardable. I've long told all of my friends that the West Coast offense is predicated on the run. Okay, this offense doesn't work without a running game, and there's a reason why Bill Walsh had Roger Craig, and there's a reason why in the 90s when we had Ricky Watters, we were successful is because we ran the football. It's not like a straight up passing offense where you're just gonna be in shotgun and throwing it all game. It doesn't have that design. You Because what they do basically is they run a lot of the plays. They look identical. Their pass plays are in the same setup as the run plays. Okay, so they can do. It's harder for defense to guess. If you're in a shotgun, they know you're probably gonna pass. Okay, if you're in a goal line formation, they know you're probably running it. And what the 49ers do is they can pretty much run multiple like sets out of just like they call it the what 21 personnel. They can do runs, passes, screens, middle of the field. They can attack the downfield. Pretty much anything they want to do, they can do out of that personnel. And it makes it scary when there's nothing to key, because people have been, defending the West Coast offense for decades. Of course, there's ways to stop it, but if you have talented players at the skill positions, which the 49ers before Christian McCaffrey got here really didn't have, it makes it scary for defenses when you have to literally worry about not being able to key on one person. Before, when we had like the three-headed monsters, when we had Mostert and all these other guys, Wilson and everything like that, they pretty much knew who was coming in for what plays. Yeah, we still had a successful, strong running game, but they were really, it's the NFL, man. They watch the film. They can tell who's in for what sets, and as you go into the playoffs, you play the tougher defenses. It's more challenging for an offense. And I'm going to get to Kyle Shanahan and his play calling in a minute. When you take both of those players and you have them on the field at the same time, they're really good players. They're really good players, and they can do pretty much anything. They both can run. They both can catch, and I'm pretty sure they probably both could throw the ball if they wanted them to. So I even believe that the defenses, they have a thing that teams try and do. You can actually stop both of them. Okay, some defense try to stop, like the Cowboys. I don't know what they were thinking. They were trying to, we're going to stop Christian McCaffrey, and we destroyed them with the tight end because, when you take resources from one area to try and stop McCaffrey, or resources to try and stop Debo, it leaves someone open up somewhere else. And that's what Shanahan's really good at, finding those mismatches, knowing what they're going to try and take away. And I think there are defenses out there that can take them both away, but we're so deep that Ayuk and Kittle and Juszczyk and even Jawan Jennings, they're our third, fourth, fifth option. They're better than every other team's third, fourth, fifth defender. That's why that offense is so successful. And that's why when you take Debo out, one less headache, one less problem for the defense, and they can kind of go, okay, we know we're just focusing on McCaffrey, and it makes it a little bit more challenging for the offense, especially if the game plan is set up for Debo. But it's a little bit more challenging for the offense to get some kind of momentum going, or to get against the better teams, because now they have tells. The defenses can kind of say, okay, we're going to take away McCaffrey and make these other guys beat us, which I still don't think that they can. I really think that even with Debo out, as long as we know he's going to be out, I think Shanahan can come up with a good game plan on how to attack the defenses. But if they're both in the game, I really don't think that it's happening, and I really, really want to see another game against the Ravens, because I think we had a good game plan and we were driving down the field. I think it was for the first time. I think Brock got too aggressive through that first INT, and it got in his head. I think it got the second one when the defender, when the lineman tipped it up and made that play. I really think that messed that kid up, got into his head, and it was the first time I've seen him rattled. A lot of these analysts who don't watch 49ers, they want to think that's who he is. That's not who Brock is. So I think it's just really important that Shanahan runs the football, and starts Brock out good, lets him get into a rhythm, and not put him in. I don't want to say put him in harm's way, but put him in a situation to where something like that can happen, and that's kind of on the board for him. The fourth thing, the fourth point that I want to talk about is not Mike Shanahan, haha, Kyle Shanahan. Um, it's like it's a positive and a negative. I think he's an awesome offensive coordinator to an extent. He's really good. He's good, but I feel he's so good that he has some deficiencies that I don't think that a lot of people can see. There's a reason why he's 0-30 in games when he gets behind. Like I said before, I've been watching 49ers for decades. I've seen the West Coast offense for decades. I've seen them kind of behind. And there's a point to where you could be more aggressive, I don't want to say in the passing game, but in the passing game, there are ways. Do I know the X's and O's of it? I can't explain it. But I know everybody who's a 49er fan knows what I'm talking about. I've seen it when they want to, really kind of push the ball downfield. They can, and for some reason, I feel that Kyle doesn't know how to flip that switch. We're behind. We need to kind of, I don't want to say get it going. It's hard to kind of explain. He doesn't know. He doesn't have a game plan for that. He has a very set game plan. He has a very set idea on what he wants to do. And when teams get him out of that, it really messes up that offense. People want to blame Jimmy in the Super Bowl. I think that was all Shanahan. There's a reason why the Falcons ended up losing that Super Bowl. His play calling got weird, and I can't explain it because I don't know enough about the X's and O's of the West Coast offense. But from the eye test, you can see what they were doing in the first half is different from what they were doing in the second half. They had a huge lead. You can't tell me that his offense couldn't get 3 more points in 2 quarters against the Patriots after they were just destroying these guys. Same thing in the Super Bowl. We were winning by 10 points with 6 minutes left, and the play calling got wonky. It was oddly wonky, and over the years, as I've been watching him, just like earlier this year, there were times when I'm like looking at his play calling, and I was like, bro, what are we doing? I know it ain't just as easy as, hey, Debo's out, let's run the football. But yo, man, Debo is out. Brock is obviously having problems, dealing in the passing game. He's kind of off. Run the ball, man. Run the ball. They weren't stopping. The Green Bay Packers were not stopping us from running the ball. Okay, I know you can't run it every single play, but we literally ran it every single play against them a few years ago, so why not? At least to calm your quarterback down, to, to get your offense some kind of momentum and balance, let them get on their feet, And I really feel that was on him, and you could tell finally at the end of the game, he kind of got his head out of his butt, and they started calling. You could tell that they finally got in rhythm. It was just weird. You could see it. It was a combination of Brock calming down and of Shanahan finally kind of being a little bit more, I guess you could say, the word's not aggressive. They weren't more aggressive on that last drive, but it felt more like the impetus was on, let's go. We're not trying to do all this cute screens and stuff. I hate the screen game. I know a lot of people like the screen game. I know the coaches like the screen game. I don't. It can be shut down. All it takes is a cornerback reading it really well. He's like against Baltimore, and you're gonna get a big time loss. I don't like that. You know what I mean? We have the receivers to push the ball down the field. We don't need to be doing the little 5-yard screens and doing all that stuff. And I think when you take all those little cute plays out of the offense, we're dangerous. We're really dangerous. Brock is a very accurate quarterback, and I think if we had to win throwing it 40 times a game, uh, I think we could win that way. I think he's as long as the blocking. People don't realize the 49ers' weakness isn't Brock Purdy. The 49ers' weakness is our offensive line. We have Trent Williams, and that's it. That's it. That's all we got. Okay, you take out Trent Williams, and we're struggling. And a lot of people that I hear, I listen to all the talk shows and everything like that. They don't realize what Brock is doing as far as or what Shanahan is doing as far as protection. His scheme, how they block up to protect for Brock, and the little things that he does to help out his linemen. The coaches, I know the coaches know. I know the coaches will see it. I guarantee if you go to any GM or head coach, defensive coordinator, and ask them what they think about Brock Purdy, they would be not subscribing to any of this nonsense about these other guys talking about. He ain't him. As far as a passer, he's one of the most accurate passing quarterbacks I've ever seen already. He's good. And it took me the 8 games that I saw him play last year. You don't just walk into the NFL, I don't care who you have on your roster, and go 8-0 and go to the NFC Championship. It's not a thing. All right? He's really good when he's got time, and the Ravens did a good job of, they're a good defense. I had kind of wanted to see them play, and you could tell that they were, I don't say more aggressive. That coach had a really good game plan on how to challenge not just Brock, but Kyle Shanahan's offense. And I think the next time around, especially if Shanahan has 2 weeks, I think that he comes up with a better plan. I don't think there was a bad game plan, but I think now that they see how they're going to try and defend Brock and that team, I think Kyle will have a better idea on how to attack him. So I say all that to say this week, I think the Packers might be better than Detroit. I don't know. I like Detroit. I've liked them all year. I've always, I used to like Barry Sanders back in the day. Like, just as a player, he was outstanding. So I've had little place in here in my heart, hoping that the Lions are good, and they are good. They're a great, they're a solid team. I don't think that they're a super team. I've seen them lose some games this year that I really think they shouldn't have lost. So I think they're beatable, but I don't think that they're a joke. But I think offensively, they're not as talented as the Packers. Like I said, once again with the eye test, because basically Jared Goff isn't nearly as mobile as Jordan Love. So, the 49ers for the past few weeks, we've been chasing all these mobile quarterbacks. You got Lamar Jackson, and then after that we had, I think Kyler Murray was playing in one game, and then, you also got Jalen Hurts. And Matthew Stafford's he's not a statue either. But Jared Goff is pretty much, he's not running anywhere. So defensively, I think we have an advantage against that offense. I know they can run the ball. So really all we really need to do is be extra about stopping the run and make them one-dimensional. If we make the Detroit Lions one-dimensional, I think it's going to be a long day for them. But that's a big if, because I know they can run the ball, and we've been acting like we don't know how to tackle for some reason. We got really good defenders, and I've seen them tackle. I don't know if it's because our free safety, Hufanga, he got hurt, and because it's really the corners are supposed to, when you got your D-line and everything like that, with all the stuff that they do, you really need your secondary players to come up and help out. And I think that's where some of these missed tackles, a lot of the big runs are coming up because that run support isn't coming up in there and doing their job. You know, I can't tell you from the coach's perspective, but you can see it. There's plays where, you know, it's a man for man. All of a sudden, I see whiffed tackles, and I'm like, yo, man, that was there. The defense it was the right call. Y'all just gotta, you know, make a tackle. I'm not sure what it is. I know we've had some injuries. I know Eric Armstead was out, and Greenlaw was out. So our numbers, you know, at the end of the season, we started struggling. I don't think we're a bad rushing team. I mean, rush defensive team. I think when you take into account those things, those injuries, that's what's happened. But we are bad, I think, on the back end tackling. Certain players have missed some tackles. You can see it. But I don't think it's something that's like we can't overcome. All we gotta do, we tackle these running backs. I know the guy on State Raw. I had him in fantasy football. He's an awesome player. You know what I mean? But man, we should be able to get pressure on Jared Goff. That's really key. We get pressure on him, and it ain't gonna matter about what, you know, Laporta and, you know, what the receivers are doing, and it's not gonna matter because I think we should be able to terrorize that dude. I say we should be able to terrorize him. If we terrorize Jared Goff, if we get pressure on him, they're not gonna have time to get into their offense and do all the things that they do. So, you know, it's kind of a combination of two things. Offensively, we need to score, which I'm going to get to that. And then defensively, we just need to take away their run game, which hopefully our offense will help, which that brings me to our offense. People talk about how the Lions can run the ball and how they kind of matches up talent for talent. Laporta and Raw, how they kind of mirror us, is very true. I don't think Jared Goff is better than Brock Purdy. People are going to want to say that. I think Jared Goff is a good quarterback. I think he's the tier under. Then you got like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Who am I missing? I know I'm missing somebody in there. But, you know, I think Brock's right under them because he just hasn't been in there and proved it yet. He doesn't have the athletic ability, I guess you could say. I don't know why he has to run like Allen and Jackson, you know, to be like that. He can pass. He's the quarterback. You don't have to be a running quarterback, man. But Goff he'll turn the ball over. He's not a runner. You know, he doesn't have a lot of escapability. I think Brock's more accurate. His stats look better. It doesn't matter who he has at wide receiver. His stats look better, man. He's passing better. He has, you know, he's like top 5 in every category. Goff is not top 5 in every category. I mean, you have to cherry pick. You have to be like a Cowboys fan and cherry pick to make his stats kind of compare to Brock's, you know. So, their secondary, their corners are bad. So, you know, they got a good run defense, but we have a good run offense. So I think it's that strength on strength. I think we do good. I was watching them struggle with Tampa, man. Tampa's offense isn't better than our offense is not. Baker Mayfield was moving the ball, you know, and you know, so I think we have more weapons for them to deal with, you know, man for man, and those corners, they're gonna need to give them help, and if they have to give them help, you know, that's gonna be better for the run game. If they don't give them any help, if they don't give those corners any help, look, Brock is good in the middle of the field. All those like weird like deep ends and stuff, passes that me as a quarterback I'd never do. I would never throw them passes. I'm not that accurate. But he's money in the middle of the field. He's money in that like 10 to 15 yard range, which is like what you want to be because most defenses don't cover that. You know, the short yardage you got them, they'll do it. Or you got some guys who are good. I don't want to say kind of like deep. You know, you might have good safeties and stuff. But if you're bad at corner and you're going against a team like the Niners, Ayuk can beat those dudes. Ayuk, Jennings, and Debo. You don't even really need Debo. Debo's a whole different kind of headache. Jawan Jennings is good. We call him third and Jawan, man. He's really good. So all he has to do is, he's our third wideout. So who's their nickelback? Who's their third? Who's their third corner? Their starters are bad. All right. So if their starters are bad, what does their third cover man look like? Okay, because we're starting off the top. We got Debo, Ayuk, you got Kittle, because you technically can count him as a wide receiver. You got McCaffrey, you count him as a wide receiver. Who's chasing McCaffrey out of the backfield? You know what I mean? The linebacker, Hutchinson, he's supposed to be rushing the quarterback, right? So what is he doing? Is he rushing? Because if he's not rushing, because everybody's been saying he's supposed to be rushing, if he's not rushing Brock, man, that means that he's going to have time. I don't know how they're going to bring pressure if he's not, if he's not the one doing it. So if he's bringing pressure, they're going to be short in the secondary. They're already short in the secondary, talent-wise. So as long as, Brock plays like Brock plays, we should be all right. Am I predicting a blowout? No. Would I be surprised? No. I don't know what their offense is going to look like against our defense, but if they can't run the ball, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. Detroit has to run the ball to win this game. If they don't run the ball, they're not winning this game. And, I don't know. I know everybody wants to say it's doom and gloom about Debo. If Debo plays, I definitely think we have a decided advantage. If he doesn't play, I still think we have an advantage. Our offense isn't trash. Hasn't been all year. So I know just because people have a recency bias and they, just seeing Brock have a bad game in the rain after literally, dude had 20 days off. He hadn't played in 20 days. So there was some rust, there was some rain, and it's only his first full season playing in a big game. I give the kid, he won the game. He didn't throw any picks. I don't get how people can say he played a bad game when he had 0 interceptions, while Jordan Love had 2 interceptions. I don't care if you are Batman, like the most skilled fighter in the world. Okay, you can have all the talent all you want. If you didn't win the game and you threw 2 picks, that's not good. Jordan Love didn't play good. How y'all gonna give him a pass when he turned the ball over twice, man? When he didn't win the game, when he threw like a terrible pass, terrible. I know. I don't even play quarterback, man. I didn't play quarterback in college. You know what I'm saying? I know that you don't throw the ball across the field like that, across your body while you're rolling it. I called it, you can ask my kids, I said that's an interception the moment he did it. I couldn't believe he did that. And no one wants to give Brock credit for not turning the ball over. Yes, sure, it coulda, woulda, shoulda. He threw the ball and Savage dropped it. Did he get the INT? No. You know how many passes that you got where corners dropped INTs? It happens every game, all the time. Tons of, I should have had it. You can't, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know the little saying, if was a whatever. You know what I mean? They didn't get the INTs. Brock didn't turn the ball over, which means he didn't hurt his team because he didn't give the other team extra chances, and he did. That's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for. They're in the NFC Championship because he drove down the field. He scored a touchdown at the end of the game when he needed to. He made plays when he needed to. He was like 7 for 7. Take away Kittle's drop. He's 7 for 7 on the final drive of a game that they had to have. I mean, period. End of story. Josh Allen's sitting at home. Jordan Love is sitting at home. Who else sitting at Dak Prescott sitting at home? What other quarterbacks we talking about? They're all sitting at home right now because you know why? They played terrible. They turned the ball over. And that's why they're, them and their team are at the house. Brock Purdy played well enough to win the game. And that's pretty much all he ever does because we've only lost 5 football games in 2 seasons when this dude is in the lineup. I don't care if he plays on the Justice League, man. You know what I'm saying? He's a winner. He's been winning until he doesn't win. Until, he's in the playoffs. If you can't count that playoff game against him last year. Yeah, he was injured. When he's healthy and he starts the game and finishes it in the playoffs, he's undefeated. What more do you want? What more do you want? So, that's going to conclude my first eye test episode. I'll try and I'll do one after this weekend about the games. I might maybe I'll do Kansas City and Baltimore. Tell you guys what I think about those players, how those teams are built, and who's going to win that game. And after football season, I'll also dive into the NBA and talk about the Mavericks and excuse me, and what's going on there and what I think. And subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna try and put out some more content. I also do video games and movie reviews. I have a passion for pop culture. I've seen every movie ever, and I've played pretty much every video game. I have all the systems, so I got a lot of just ideas and you know games and stories I'd like to get you guys out there. I mean, to put out there for you guys to see. There's some pretty good films out there that people haven't, that people are sleeping on. There's some games out there that people are sleeping on, just like everybody's sleeping on Brock Purdy. All right, see you guys later.